A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Wednesday, April 1st. Of course, it's April Fool's Day. We are not fooling around. Of course, I'm Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Kip Stube.
And tonight, we are talking about the decision by some opposition parties to boycott by-elections until President Robert Mugabe's ruling ZANU-PF institutes democratic and electoral reforms.
To join the discussion, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back.
LiveTalk goes out to Zimbabwe on 909 medium wave frequency and on the 4930-5940 and 15455 kilohertz shortwave Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m.
On the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voindebele.com.
Once again, thanks for joining us, and you are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about by-elections. If it was during Shakespeare's time, the question will be to be or not to be. But this is modern day Zimbabwe, so the question is to participate or not to participate in by-elections. Gibbs.
And of course, Blessing, the opposition MTC formations have actually boycotted the two by-elections which were held in Mount Darwin West and Chirumanzu, Zimbabwe, and vowed not to participate in any future polls until government levels the electoral playing field.
Of course, the Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace has urged Zimbabweans and civil society movements to join the opposition in boycotting any future elections until government implements reforms prescribed by the new constitution. But of course, there are some opposition parties that have said they will participate with or without those reforms. Gibbs.
What are your views on this issue? If you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back. That number again 001-202-619-2077. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. Our number is 1-202-465-0318. That number again 1-202-465-0318. Yeah, asebenze mfowethu.
Onguka Gibbs nasi tinoda kuti tinge tichitarisa nenyaya dzesarudzo dzema by-elections kana sarudzowo tichienda kumberi. Tiri kuona kuti kuNigeria kwakaitwa sarudzo iko. Goodluck Jonathan vakakundwa musarudzo. Vakati kune vanga vakunda Muhammad Buhari aiwa indobvuma kuti ndakundwa musarudzo nekudaro ndakuenda hangu pamudya ndigere pasina nyaya yemhirishonga. Asi kuZimbabwe nyaya yesarudzo inenge ichiri kunetsa inqabanqoza zvinhu zvinenge zvakaita manyama amire nerongo. Nekudaro tinoda kuti tinzwe kuti zviri kufamba sei zvingaitwe kuti sarudzo dzinoitwa munyika dzisaite mvonga mupopoto.
Yeah, kunjalo ke Blessing lamhla i-full day ngiphosa ngakubiza ngathi Gibbs kuwena. So uyawathi sitshengisa abantu ukuthi it's not full day. Mina ngu-Gibbs Dube.
Yeah, mina ngu-Blessing.
Yeah, lapho ufaka ukuthi abazi abantu bacathi njani i-full day yabo. So ke sizwile ke lamhla kule full day joke yokuthi MDC sezibambene. Ngibala istory lana nomzala ngathi le iphekwe ebusuku emabilini sibi ukuthi abantu bathi umnumzana uthwangelayi sebabhalele lo mnumzana uncube nabobidi bonke ngathi lokho ngani kuyahlupha. Nxa sikhangela ke okujulileyo namhlanje ke Blessing sikhangela khona ukuthi ke ukhetho lolu lwama by-elections olukhona kulamabandla amaningi athi asingeni kulokho ngoba bathi akwalungisa imithetho yonke eZimbabwe ikakhulu imithetho yezokhetho. Singayibona i-electoral act yethu ngazani ayikahambiswa ukuthi ihlanganelani lesisekelo sombuso welizwe. So kuthiwa nxa ungekenzakala khonokho kuyakhathaza kakhulu. Sizwile njalo kulomnye ubaba lapha oku Advocacy Research Institute othi inketho lezi vele akumelanga zibe khona ngoba azikhanjiswa ngomthetho. Okwesibili kumethi ngakhathesi abalungisa i-voters roll asobantu baka-registrar general ngakulungiswa izeki Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So uqonda ukuthi umuntu wathi lapho ngazana kule mbizo eqhatha kubi kumele kulungiswe. So kunengi mfowethu lapho ngani kuyahlupha.
Of course, for those of you who are just joining us, this is Studio 7 Live Talk, and we are talking about by-elections. I think we have our first guest on the line. That is Mr. Jacob Mafume, spokesperson, MDC Renewal Team. Mr. Mafume, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Blessing.
Right. Mr. Mafume, let's talk about the issue of by-elections. Of course, we know that there's a case in the Constitutional Court. You filed papers in the Constitutional Court. We don't want to jump the gun here. The court might rule in your favor. But of course, that is besides the case. Even the Chiruma and Zimbabwe and Mount Darwin elections, you did not participate. And some people are saying this strategy is not working because there are no reforms that are being implemented. Meanwhile, ZANU-PF is getting all the seats and you are boycotting the elections.
Yes, let's start from the first point. When we went into the election in 2013, everybody, without exception, and the majority of the people attacked us for going into that election without the reforms. Every time that we explained that we were rigged, they then say that why did you participate? We will all agree that we went into an election where the constitution was not implemented, where reforms were not completed, and the result of participating is for all to see. It has been the continued hegemony of ZANU-PF, the continued hegemony of poverty, the continued hegemony of desperation of the people of Zimbabwe. Now, this is only a year after 2013. Everybody has forgotten the greatest fraud that occurred in 2013 in July when the Constitutional Court railroaded us into an early election when the reforms were not done. And everybody, without exception, took turns to blame us for having participated in that election. Now, we are faced with by-elections. That means nothing. This ZANU-PF system is now based on an electoral dictatorship where they hold elections every month and pretend to be defeating the opposition and absolutely forgetting to run the country. The country is now on autopilot. People are desperate, people are hungry, people are without food. Tell me, what has changed for us to participate?
Thank you, Mr. Mafume. We just want to bring our second guest, that is Professor Lovemore Maduku, the current president of the National Constitutional Assembly. Of course, Professor Maduku's party is participating. It's not boycotting.
Professor Maduku, good evening and welcome to the program.
Yes, good.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we are told that you are very happy about the outcome of the by-election, the last by-elections. So at the end of the day, we know that one of your candidates got about 79 votes, and you are happy about that. Are you there, Mr. Maduku? Mr.
Hello?
Maduku, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now hear you.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So all what I was saying is that your party is participating in these by-elections. And if my memory serves me right, one of your candidates got about 79 votes, and your party said you were quite happy about the outcome of those by-elections. So tell us about the by-elections.
Well, I wasn't hearing some of the things you were saying, but I'm sure I can contribute quite clearly. First, I think it is the issue of whether one boycotts a by-election or participates in a by-election. It depends on the objective one is having. Now, the MDCs are boycotting. They have very good reasons for boycotting. And I think those reasons are good and supported. One should support them. For us to participate in the by-election is not for purposes of legitimizing them. We are a new party. We are simply marketing ourselves. I think I made it clear those who took views from me or recorded views from me and then published them. The NCA is actually taking a selfish approach to these things. We want to market ourselves. And we are allowed to, at the moment, just consider building ourselves as a party. So the 79 votes you are referring to, the 3 months, actually will try out of those 79 to get about 10, 15 people who constitute our committee there. The 216 we got in Mount Darren West, we will try and get up to 40 or 50 people who constitute our... We are building ourselves. Unlike the MDCs have been in this game for the past 15 years. They are a party full-fledged. And their boycott message would be heard. It would have effect. So what would it help if the NCA were to boycott? I mean, no one would even listen because who is the NCA in the first place? They don't know us. So this is the idea of the NCA of building a party. So when I say self-interest, it's not self-interest that we are not looking at the country. We are trying to introduce an alternative party, and the party must be known. With time, once we have NCA, you have MDC and MDC and some other parties, that will enrich our democracy. So our sole reason for participating is just for mobilization and building our party. Those who have already built their parties are at a second level, which is now to boycott, to push for reform, which is perfect. And I think that when they do that, we will benefit from it. And the society will also benefit from our process because as we grow and get known, they will have choices to make.
Thank you so much, Professor Maduku. And I think we are now being joined by our third guest, that is Honorable Tabitha Khumalo, the Deputy Spokesperson of the opposition MDCT. Honorable Khumalo, we have received a number of calls and messages from some people who are concerned that, of course, there's still a constitutional case in the Constitutional Court challenging the dismissal of some members of parliament and senators. But people are saying if you don't participate in those by-elections in the event that the Constitutional Court rules otherwise, ZANU-PF is about to win elections in Bulawayo, something that it has been struggling to do, and this will be a step backward.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Zimbabwe. I hear you loud and clear. I think let's go to statistics first, because there is no point for us as Zimbabweans to go to an election that is already rigged. Let me give you the statistics of Zimbabwe. In 2010, we had 31,000 registered voters. Come 2013, those voters decreased to 24,260. That means that 6,811 people were removed from the voters' roll. And the big is, did these people die? And if they died, there should have been an outcry because 6,000 people dying in 3 years is a national crisis. Okay? We never had the national crisis. Come 2013 to 2015, the same constituents. 24,000 registered voters in 2013. And all of a sudden, in 2015, they put 35,447 registered members. 10,000 people registered in less than 2 years. Now, you tell us as Zimbabweans, if we think loud and hear these statistics, are we serious when we say we are going to an election with the ZANU-PF when they have already won? What is the purpose? We cannot legitimize ZANU-PF by rigging. While we have the information that proves that they are rigging this election. So by going there, what ZANU-PF wants from us is to legitimize them. And we are saying, no, level the playing field first.
Thank you so much, Honorable Khumalo. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about by-elections, to boycott or not to boycott. And our guests this evening, we have Professor Lovemore Maduku, a constitutional law expert and president of the Opposition National Constitutional Assembly. We also have Mr. Jacob Mafume, spokesman, MDC Renewal Team, and also deputy spokesperson, MDCT, Honorable Tabitha Kumalo. Gibbs, we have many messages on Facebook and WhatsApp. Let's just read some of them to also read the national temperature. Milton says, this is a good move by the opposition MDC. They must not participate in elections which are full of intimidation, fraud, and so on. And we need free, fair elections like what happened in Nigeria. Ian says the MDC is taking a wrong decision because the ZANU-PF government cannot change anything alone. So they could have gone and fight within parliament itself for the good of the nation. Clement says it is senseless to participate in a rigged and nicouved election. Participating is only legitimizing ZANU-PF. Edmore says, I support the move just because the playing field should be even. Totally, it's pointless and ridiculous too. Watching a game where results are well known. This happens in the WWE, right? The wrestling. It's predetermined. Ben says the MDC formations have run out of ideas. Yes, the elections will be rigged and it's a waste of resources to contest the by-elections. But the opposition movement should be doing something tangible to assure the people of Zimbabwe that change can be achieved. Jerry says ZANU-PF will never agree to reforms and to reform the electoral system because they know that they will lose free and fair elections. And we have again who says that's a commendable move because taking part in an obvious fraudulent poll is akin to suicide and lack of foresight. This just resembles 1979 fraudulent election where Muzorewa won. Daniel says, without clear electoral laws, I think it's reasonable that one cannot take part in an election with its results being obvious. Even the electorate cannot participate in such elections if there is no clarity. Gibbs.
Yes, ile mlazelo omningi kakhulu ku Facebook lapha ke blessing omunye wankhona uvela ku Freedom Thabani Khoza othi yingcekeza yonke leyi enziwa libandla le MDC badlala ngamavoti ethu laba abantu 4 years bebe ku unity government bathe bekhona ngale beku unity government ngabazanga besenzele lutho angeke ngivotele futhi MDC lento abayenzayo ayincedi lutho yikunikeza izanu amandla nje. Sizathi ke umakhumalo uzaphendula khonapho nxa singaqeda. But what this guy was saying is, you know, the MDC is wasting people's time, you know, because they were in the unity government and they did nothing for the people, and he is really unhappy. He says he will never vote for the MDC again. So then we've got Melusi Maposa, all right. To be honest with you people, it's useless to contest those by-elections because ZEC on its own is ZANU-PF. Even the courts are ZANU-PF. You can't even expect that Rita Makarau would support MDCT. At the moment, everything in Zimbabwe is just a big shame. Then Slom Numzanake, Umoveni Mkalisa Ngwenya, Opale City. Laba ungapika ngapo, uyasala ubambe isisila bona besuta ngokweza kwabo. So he says, don't trust politicians.
Yeah.
You know, you end up catching some feathers when the bed is gone, you know.
Yeah.
So... Then Foster Mbangwa writes, this is a good move indeed. And then Martin Kurure says, these elections are for ZANU-PF only. We won't participate in them. So, okay, saying Lomnumzana Uzbusiso, Ekengwa yana Johannesburg. Baba, Uzbusiso kunjani? Yeah, kunjani konapho ke call.
Hayi, aku-right.
Ubonile Mnumzana, akuphosela ko baba.
Ngathi ngisacela ukubuza ukuthi kathi wonke ama-MDC afuna ukungenelela khethu.
Kukhanya ngani kube kunjalo bengikhuluma nje lo mhambi oyisikhulumeli sebandla le-MDC kaNcube oza kubuya mbayimbayi kithi lapha ubesithi labo ngazani babona ngani sokwazala lingwe so ukuthi baye kukhetho no afuna ukuzwa.
Okay, mina Dube ngicabanga njengoba ngagcina laphana ngathi MDC kaTsonga iyafuna ungena ekhethweni. Kodwa ke kungasenani ngoba vele Dube nokungena bekufanele bengene. Ngoba labo vele ababoncubele mina ngibabali ngoba ngibona MDC izanPF laba abantu. Ngoba into abayifuna nje kuphela abancube izikhundla labo lobithi laba bathi nje ngoba bazohlangana benzeni upresident uzoba ubani khona la so le MDC mina ngiyikhuthaza ukuthi ayihambe laloba izanPF izozwinela izorotha kodwa ingahambi yodwa engasekhetheni lokuqala ayiqhubeki ihambe laba ababoncube laba avele izanPF laba bazodisturba labo lokhu labo tentayibiti labo so abangene kuphela abathwangirai uvele kuyarojwa vele izanizo robha kunjalo kodwa ingazihambeli yodwa nje kuba ngathi nje iyodwa ngoba bangaze bathi abaye ekhethweni bazozela kwena bebodwa beqede lapho bazigcobe bazifake ezikhundleni lezo
kodwa uthatha ngaphi ke mnumzana Ncube mnumzana sibusisa ukuthi enye iMDC le ingani sekela izanu kambe sikuthatha ngaphi khona
hayi yikho vele kunjalo bafuna izikhundla laba lokuze awuzongitshela ukuthi labana abakancuba ngithi baphuma ku-MDC laba bathe sebephuma ku-MDC sekuqatshwana lapha sebesiyabethi bajoyina uncuba bajoyina njani ngoba baphuma why bangavelanga bahamba nayo ekuqaleni
okay siyakuzwa baba
hayi abantu bezanu vele siyakwazi ngoba ngithi wabona lo baba ababemthetho oncuba sesiveza ukuthi ungezanPF anoyipresident yabo ekuqaleni
hayi sibongile kakhulu ke sibusisa ngadini lokusasa uphenduke phela
kakhulu Dube ifonini iyangihlupha kwesinye isikhathi mangifona nibambi lina inkinga yini
ungani hayi enxa ucingo lwakho labo lihlupha baba
hayi siyabonga nathi
sibonge kakhulu so Mr. Sibusiso is saying the MDC should go into these polls you know he says come rain come thunder don't let ZANU-PF to go on his own. And he says the other MDC, which is led by Mr. Ncube, he claims is aligned to ZANU-PF. So I asked him why. He says, look at Mr. Mutambara, you know. So he believes he had some alliance with ZANU-PF in some way, you know, until he left. So he's not happy about the
Of
MDC.
course, it's not something that we will glorify, you know, Zimbabweans. If they don't agree, they just say, you are MDC, you are ZANU-PF, it's always a problem.
Or maybe you are CIO.
Exactly. Regaiti dzoke kwamuri vamafume vamarungoti nyaya yekungoti aiwa hatipinde musarudzo asi pasina chiri kuitwa nevanopikisa vacho kuti mumanikidze ZANU-PF kuti ichinje zvii zvamuri kuita kunze kwekuti hamusi kupinda musarudzo.
Well, look, there are a number of actions that we have to take. Let me illustrate. These guys are serious about operation. I think people are not aware of the magnitude of the danger that we are in as a country. These are people who have dealt ruthlessly with their own party members, calling them witches, denying them access to the court, using the same tactics that they would use against the sworn enemy on their own members. They do not even have the dignity of allowing due process to own members of their own party. They are merciless towards the members of the opposition. We are going into a new winter of oppression that people have not seen. There are matters that are still sub judice, but what I have seen with my own eyes and have heard with my own ears, I think we are playing with what these guys are trying to do. They are being ruthless. 18,000 people in a by-election in a raw constituency. They are saying they've registered over 70,000 people in one constituency. It does not make sense to anyone. These guys are determined to make sure that we are going to be rigged, and we are going to be rigged to high heaven. The first thing that we are doing is by stopping participation in these charades, in these comical events. We are taking the first step. People will have to move on to the next stages when you need to illustrate certain things. We need to regroup reassess our methodology, and begin a process of business unusual. If we continue in this business as usual mode, we are going to have an entrenched dictatorship that is going to deal ruthlessly with any forms of dissent in this country. They've already destroyed our economic lives. They are about to destroy our political lives. And we need to quickly regroup as civic society, as political parties, and come up with a radical solution to this problem.
Thank you, Mr. Mafume. Gibbs?
Now, Professor Maduku, are you still on the line?
Yes.
I think you are hearing clearly what Mr. Mafume is saying. But at the end of the day, people will say, well, Mr. Maduku is taking part in these by-elections because of being selfish. I mean, at the end of the day, they'll say you're actually spoiling the party for the opposition. How would you take that?
Well, I'm not yet. I thought I spoil a party opposition. So, wana Jacob Mafume towira nazvo zvese zvautara ndowira nazvo zvisingaiti and vari kuplay a role iyoyo. So far ma-MDC parties vari ivo renewal nethi-MDCT ndiwo mapati achine musindo even panane chitenda zvamamiti vanhu vaitaura hapana ambotaura zvekuti NCA vaingoti MDC ndo zviripo. Saka pari kunzi vari kuboyikota zvinozika and pressure yavari kupa iri kuita isi tiungotora mukana iwoyo maby-elections kuti mbokwanisa kuvaka pati yedu. Tapedza kuvaka pati muchaona taakuita mamwe mastrategy pamwe tinenge taakuita zveboycott resuppression but zvinezvi NCA ichiri pati diki zvekuti haisati yaane simba rekungodzinga zvita chete. Saka aya tiri kumati like ma-friendly matches iwo vachiti havo iwo vanenge vachitamba iwo
makumalo uyavhuma
kuita mukana muchaona zvazvichabatsira. Saka ngatikoti kune mastrategy maviri. Kune vari kuboyikota zvinoshanda, isusu vari kuparticipate. Chandinongoramba ndechekuti paite vanofunga kuti isusu vese MCA kupinda kwatakaita tingazi talegitimize obviously vanhu vakaona kuti taita mavhoti mashoma and hazvingambodzi period yanga ine context ndipapo.
Professor Matuku, just 1 second. Makumalo uyavhuma kunywa umnumzana la
vamadhuku telekchara vangu kama ndishungurudza hondo yakairwa inini neni ichirogwa nemapurisa tichiti hatidi bumburiro mutemo risina kunyorwa nemunhu. Nhasi makuenda kuma-elections kunolegitimiza mbavha yamunoziva kuti yanga chitirova sei. Aiwa bode mandibvumirani nazvo. Nguva yasvika kuti tibatane sehuni sesvinga kuti tirwe nedhemoni. Dhemoni iri rakoniwa anointing yacho ndeyemi vamadhuku. Every single Zimbabwean nguva yasvika kuti tisanganise musoro pano chete tobvira nezano.
Fakisi ndebele makumalo futhi.
Lecturer boda
ndizvindura.
Fakisi ndebele mana fakisi ndebele Matuku man. Fake sindukola
baba Matuku nyadzana kakhulu ukuthi wena namhlanje sasisila lezane soku-NCA sithi akula sisekelo sombuso ezizathatha iZimbabwe ngabantwana beZimbabwe bengasilobanga. Namhlanje sesiya kukhetho olezane eyayisichaya kangaka kambedokotela asichaya asivalele ezitokisini asalise ukuthi kanti kuyebelatshwa. Namhlanje wena uthi wena ufuna umobilizani lesela
Vamaduku.
Ndikuda kuzvitataurirwa na-MP Tabitha. Haisi chokwadi chekuti vatarise history yatakabva nezvekumobiliza zvaita neconstitution. Vanhu vakakanganisira kuti tinge taakutaura zvemareforms izvezvi ndivo vana Tabitha ne-MDC especially kuna atsangira. Mucharememba kuti akaramba bumbiro iyo riri zvapo iri. Ava ivo pavaikambena vachiti ngativhote yes. Vaitaurira vanhu kuti aiwa bumbiro iri kanga ratambirwa nevanhu tinenge taane zvese zvatinoda. Mukatarisa magwaro MDCT avaikambena yes.
Professor Maduku, Professor Maduku, we are taking a short break and we'll come back to you. Professor Maduku, do stay on the line, and Honorable Kumalo, stay on the line, please, and also Mr. Mafume, please stay on the line. and our caller Reason. We are taking a short break, and for our radio listeners, we are transitioning to www.voazimbabwe.com. We are streaming live. This is Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Kip Stube saying stay tuned.
For those of you who are just joining us, good evening, and this is Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about by-elections. Some opposition parties in Zimbabwe have decided to boycott by-elections, saying that they will not legitimize the ruling ZANU-PF, which they are alleging is refusing to institute electoral reforms. But at the same time, some opposition parties like the National Constitutional Assembly and Transform Zimbabwe are participating in those elections. Of course, there is an African saying that goes like, a fight between two grasshoppers is a joy to the crow. Gibbs.
If you wish to join the discussion right now, phone us directly at this number, 001-202-619-2077, and we'll call you back. That number again, 001-202-619-2077. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. Our number is 1-202-465-0318. And I know that people want to know who our guests are. We've got Honorable Tabita Kumalo, who is an MTCT legislator. And then we've got Professor Lavmo Matuku, the NCA president. And then Mr. Jacob Mafume, who is the spokesman for the MTC renewal team. Let's go ahead with the
caller. Yeah, of course, we had to cut short Professor Maduku for that short break. Professor Maduku enderai zvenyumberi manga muchitaura muchiti imi vanhu vakakanganisa panyaya yebumbiro remutemo ndivo vanopikisa zvikuru veMDCT muchipindura mubvunzo waHonorable Kumalo vanga vatauraiwo kuti zvamuri kuita zvekupinda musarudzo idzodzi zviri kudzorera chimuringa kumashure. Professor Maduku.
Ndada kundoendera mberi ndingoti pane mutsauko pakati peMDCT neava vari kurinyuwa vakatosiyana. Kurinyuwa kune vanhu vari kuona zveshuwa kuti pane pakakanganiswa kare panoda kugadziriswa. Asi kuMDCT zvitaurwa naTabita izvozvo nechi vanhu iye Tabita izvozvo ndiye MP kawe uko kwaari kuBulawayo East. Akatokondesa election yapera iyi yanga isitori namareforms avakabirwa muna 2013. Tikasvika 2018 pasina mareforms ndikuziva kuti vanhu veMDCT vachaparticipata futi. Saka chakapinda kunaka ndechekuti vasashora kuti ngatingoti mastrategies ari kusiyana. Ivo ngavaite boycott, nini ndiri kusapota boycott, kuti wandaita boycott, asi boycott izvozvi zvinoshanda kana kaita neMDCT nerenewal because ndivo vanhu vatokura. Isu tiri kuti titsvage nzira dzekukura tizokwanisa kukompita neMDCT neMDC renewal, but izvozvo hatisi kukwanisa. So hatikuziva tinobatsira nyika kuperera chaiko chaiko. But tikati shande muchaona pamwe taakujoina boycott. But chakaipa ndechekuti maopposition titukana kuti no ava vari kuparticipate vari kukanganisa vasiri kuparticipate nekuti ana MCA naTransform Zimbabwe vakatotanga izvo zviri kuzikanwa pavanzi maelection apfuura iwo 2 ewiki yapera. But kuvati ndiwo maopposition tinenge tichingozadza mukano tichiri kutanga. And then as we are starting tikatanga nekuti hatina kuboycott tinongofa takadaro tisina zvataita.
Tinotenda Professor Maduku. Gibbs.
Let's get back to Mr. Mafume. Mr. Mafume, yes. I think you have been hearing, Honorable Kumalo and Professor Maduku talking about this issue of some people spoiling the party for the MTC formations. So by not participating in these elections, people are saying a lot of things. And one of those things is you have sold out. Do you agree with that?
No. We have not sold out. To participate without reforms and so forth would be, in our view, the selling out. Look, what is happening here is that someone clearly thinks that Zimbabwe is his own estate. He is planning the inheritance of the country to his favorite son.
and we are being asked to be the bridesmaids to the new coronation of the new favorite son. Now, we cannot do that blindly. Clearly, the road is being laid out for somebody to inherit the country as if it's the President Mugabe's estate. And we can not all move rank and file and be the bridesmaids to such a charade. We have to say stop. We have to show the people that these are pointless exercises that are meant to give predetermined outcomes. And like what I'm saying, the ruthlessness we are seeing in the execution and the shamelessness we are seeing in the violations of institutions of the state, such as the courts, such as VEC, such as the police, and so forth. This is clearly unprecedented, even at the height of its dictatorship. They are even using this kind of system against their own people. Now, what more do you think they will do to the so-called opposition? If they can ruthlessly use it against Mutasa, Muliswa, Mujuru, and so forth, without any shame at all, change constitutions, violate constitutions, and deal with all those situations, how do you think they are treating those who are calling the opposition? We have at some point to put a stop and say we will not participate until certain things are done. We followed what the people wanted in 2013. We participated, and the people watched helplessly as the vote was being stolen. The people could not do anything for the general election. Now for the people to say we should participate again, barely 12 months after we failed to do anything on the 2013, is ridiculous. It's senseless. It is pointless. I don't know how we can express it in how many languages. Hazina maturo, vanava varikuba, imbava, makororo, inunzwa tunza, inunzira mutime. And they are keeping urinating in the well, which we are all supposed to drink. And how are we supposed to keep drinking from that well? Does that make sense?
Mr.
That's it. So let's hear from Honorable Kumalo. Honorable Kumalo, even if you had to participate in these elections, in these by-elections, the MDCs are totally divided. And we're going to split the votes, and give ZANU-PF, the kind of go ahead to rule because of the split votes. So what's your take on that?
There is no if we are going to participate. Mm-hmm. If the playing field is not level, we are not participating, period. A very good example, Itai Zamara is missing. Itai Zamara is kidnapped in broad daylight. At a papa shop where there are people, there's a number plate, you name it, was there, and today, 25 days, we have no clue where he is. And that is a party that is telling us to go to an election. Hell no. Mm. We look at the issue of the kidnappings. Recently, this week again, there was an attempt at kidnapping somebody else in Tegut. Mm-hmm. And the government is numb. And one problem that we make as Zimbabweans is that we forget history. 2008 went to an election. 500 people are still missing to this date that were killed. And Mugabe decided to go on his own on the river. We boycotted. What happened? Mugabe came back to say, no, let's talk. We need the government of national unity. Which government, they had already calculated what they were going to do. They gave the NDC all the economic ministries, knowing that there was going to be a demand from the people, where we have got to deliver services. And that was a huge challenge, but we gave it our best shot. While we thought they would regroup and modify their rigging machinery in order for the election that is already won and legitimized them. Mm. And they are already building bridges with Europe to try and prove to the European countries who are not on the ground with us that the ZANU is legitimate. As you can see, the playing field is level, the pitchings are not there. But the demon has already resurrected. What is critical now is we have got to bite the bullet, let him go on his own rerun of all these by-elections and take those seats. Kuwanda kwenudzi yakugadzire uchi. Impukane zvavanenge kunganani akupumile nyuchi. Ngadziwande nudzi dzacho paparliament. Tione kuti vane mikuvha here economy. They have to improve this economy for the Zimbabweans not to uprise. And the time will come, the 2008 scenario, where people say they don't know enough is enough. Because every single one of us is feeling the pinch as I speak. We are losing loved ones. We can't go to hospitals and be treated. People are dying in prisons, they have no food. Students in colleges are not getting food. Neither the lecturers being paid. Nurses in hospitals are not being paid. Doctors are paid salaries. The time will come when the Zimbabweans will say no. But we are not going to do the by-election to legitimize ZANU-PF and use this by-election legitimacy to go and pretend with the Europeans so that they can get funding to resuscitate this economy. We are saying no.
Starting with Mr. Mafume, there's a question that you have not answered. I think Professor Maduku posed the question. He said, come 2018, you will be participating even without the reforms.
No. Look, we believe that 2018, if the conditions are the same as in 2016, then it is pointless to participate in that election. And the way this economy is going, if anyone can imagine we are going to get to 2018 in this status quo, then they must be kidding themselves. This economy is grind to a standstill. There is going to be hunger of biblical proportions starting next month. The countryside, there is no food, literally no food. Vanhu vari kufa nenzara. Chikafu hachina kukovewa, maize hakuna, mumashops makazara, vanhu havana mari yokuti vatenge. Masalaries, hurumende iri kutadza kumabhadhara, ari kushifta sematumbu ari mudhishi. Hapana anoziva kuti anotambira rini. Nyika yamira kupa muganhu kuti nzi tina president vasiri munyika vari kungotenderera nenyika dzese, tine mana vice president vasiri kumboziva kuti vari kuinda here kana kuti vari kudzoka. Zvese munyika zvamira kuti nzi tine mabasa ari kupera seatumwa. Nyika yacho iri kurarama seine ngozi. Kuti tinosvika ku2018 vanhu tichitambura kudai, inini handisi kuzviona. Nyaya iripo ndeyekuti nyika iyi yakuda kutogadziriswa gore rino tise, otherwise vanhu vachapera senhunzi. Tiri kuwana vana typhoid, zvirwere zvetsvina, tiri kuda kuwana vana kolera vari kungoripotwa apo nepapo. Zvese zvamira, magetsi hakuchisina, hakuna kwatiri kuenda senyika neizvizvi. My-elections are not solving anything. Hapana chaari kusolva, hapana chaari kugadzirisa. Taita ma-elections mangani iko zvino, asi nhamo yakatisunga semutupo. Ngatichigarai pasi senyika, tifunge kuti patasvika apa, tasvika pamuganhu. Tochifamba, ngatichipanganai mazano, tochiona zvinoshanda, nekuti izvi zvaramba, zvekuramba tichipinhana, tichipinda mumalaini asina kana chimwe chete chaanoburika.
Tinotenda tichadzoka kuna Professor Maduku. Regai timbotora mukoma Reason vagarisa parunare kuMash West. Makadi mukoma Reason?
Tiripo makadiwa.
Aiwa, tiripo. Muri kuona sei nyaya yesarudzo manzwa vadare vedu vachikuma?
Hai, isusu nyaya yesarudzo titoshayiwa kuti tingaita sei kuti vatungamiriri vedu ava vazoone kuti musarudzo makaipa kupinda umu, nekuti isusu tinozvionera tiri kumamisha kuti vakagara vapinda musarudzo idzi dzinenge dzisina kujeka kudai, tinoonesa wapfumbu chakuta vanhava nemasabhuku nemadzimambo. Saka pavanenge vatotora danho rekuti vasapinda zvinhu zvisina kugadziriswa, tinenge titozvitenda kuti dei varamba vachiona sekudaro kuitira kuti vana vavo isusu tisaparare.
Saka nyaya dzemhirizhonga ndo dziri kukanganisai kunyanya?
Nyaya dzemhirizhonga chaidziyadzo dzinenge ZANU-PF inoshandisa masabhuku, madzimambo nevechidiki vavo kufungiridza vemapato anopikisa. Saka
totozati vakapinda mutarodzo zvinhu zvisina kujeka. Kunyanya kumamisha amene kumadhorobha kati kumamisha kwatiri tinoona pfumvu.
Aiwa, tinotenda zvikuru mukoma reason nekupinda muchirongwa chedu.
Tinotendawo neniwo.
Tinotenda. Of course, reason our caller is saying he lives in a rural constituency, and he says each time there are elections, there is bound to be violence. He is alleging that ZANU-PF is using chiefs and headmen to terrorize villagers, to support ZANU-PF. So he's saying that he supports the call for a boycott. Because he's saying that going into an election without reforms is suicidal.
Yeah, awungena khonapho makhumalo ngesintu uzwele lapho mnumzana uReason ekhuluma usemakhaya khona ngalo uthi ungena ukhetho lolu kuyafana lokuthi nje weqele eqolo lempisi ilamba ifile lawo bese nombela khompana akungena khona.
Hayi ubaba uReason ngivumelana naye kakhulu ngoba lokho sokufana lokuthi izanu isithethe ipoison yayathela kuncema demu ibisithi abantu bonke abahambi bayinakamanzi noma kubomvu noma kumnyama asisoze sivumele izanu ukuthi siphe ithuba lokubulala abantu ngokuthi kababavoteli ukuthi abantu ukudla ngokuthi kababavoteli ukuchaya abantu ngokuthi kababavoteli ukuthumba abantu ngokuthi kababavoteli kabahambe kukhetho labo bebodwa sike sibone ukuthi ilizwe nalena abantu bona bafuna ukulibusa bazalibusa yini ngoba vele sesisidla inqeqwe zomlomo umangoye uvele selale eziko kodwa kuqhakathekileyo ukuthi abantwana baseZimbabwe ngicela libe kwazi ukuthi ungaze kube lokhetho lunjani kuleli lizwe ungaze kube bomvu kube njani izanu isivele isinqobile sikhuluma kunje amaphepha ivoters lesayiphiwayo thina nxa uloga ini kubhale ibizo lomunye ujaha wase-Israyeli oyimikhuvu onguye osehofisini kaMbele bahlezi so sikhuluma bayakhipha abantu abasapota amabandla aphikisayo bafaka abantu bebarejista esingababonanga sikhuluma kunje kunzima ukuthi sihambe siyeregister sibe ngama-voters ngoba uma ufika bayakutshela komsitheli ukuthi kakurejista kanti bona barejista ngaphi okungabona uZulu okungaziswayo uZulu ukuthi abantu beberejista ezivoters njalo indawo kuzithekela kusemakhaya bafika njani ngoba kufuneka kwanza izingona amakharazani lawo abo ukuthi abantu bayerejista njengamavota kanti ngani thina abanye esihlala khonapho kasikubonanga.
So what she's saying is that they will never legitimize these elections, and the MDC will never actually give ZANU-PF that kind of leeway to terrorize people through these elections.
Professor Madugu?
Well, I think discussion is the only contribution I need to go to different way. They could chatinofana kuziva tese zvedu ndechekuti kuti vanhu vazofunga zvakafanana nekuita zvakafanana haasomasikirwa takaita naMwari. Saka tichangoramba tine mapati akasiyana siyana, especially kuopposition, just like tine mapati kuruling party. Chingabatsira vanhu ndechekuti vanhu vaunderstande kuti okay, ava veMDCT pfungwa yavo ndeiyi, veMDC renewal pfungwa yavo ndeiyi, veparty NCA pfungwa yavo ndeiyi. Tichingoramba tichibhibhedza tiri kuita asi sekuziva kwandinoita ukaenda kune vanhu vemapato akasiyana siyana ukavati ngatiite zvakadai zviitwa neimwe pati vanotongorambira vachiti aiwa ndosaka tisiri mamemba epati iyoyo reason yatakajoinira pati inei hatiri inei ndeyekuti tiri kuda zvakati saka ndiyo imwe pfungwa inonetsa kubvisa even ukaona imwe pati iri pasaidi apo ichiita zvainoita zvimwe zvine musoro uchizvifungwa zvimwe zvisina asi haukwanisi kuchinja pati zvainoita nekuti ichi pati ine vanhu vanenge vachitsigira ine mamembers pamwe ndoinoti muchirungu support base. Saka kune vanhu izvezvizvi vanenge vachikwanisa kuti ngatiboycott vanenge vakawanda vari asi kune vamwewo vanhu like vari kuNCA vanoti aiwa semari zvinganataura aya tozoconsider zeboycott pamberi apo zvine zvingatimboita ichi neichi neichi ne handisi kutomboneseka nazvo nekuti ndiri kusapota vari kuboycott apo hatisi hatasvika panguva yekuboycott.
Asi pane zvamaonawo Professor Madhuku, mapinda musarudzo idzodzi, zvii zvamuri kufungawo kuti zvinofanira kuti zvinge zvichiitwa nechimbi-chimbi kuitira kuti sarudzo dzinge dzichifambira mberi pane zvamadzidza? Maona here voters roll?
Mubvunzo wako iwo wanga wapedza kubvunza. Mubvunzo wako iwo ungaita kuti pandiri kushaya nemashamwari vangu vari palaini awo, Jacob naTabitha, ndezvekuti zvimwe zvatiri kutongoonawo isu pamwe zvakatenge zvaonekwa nevanhu veMDC kare, asi patiri kuzviona tiri kutovhunduka kuti kusei zvinhu zvakagara zviripo, nekuti unotozviona zvakashanda muna 2013 zvakashanda muna mamwe maelection. Saka isu patichatanga nyaya yereform takunebatana nevamwe, nekuti chatiri kungosiyana apa iboycott, asi patiri kuwirirana ndepekuti ngapaitwe maelectoral reform. Tiri kuwirirana zvisingaiti. Pakaitwa imwe method yekushandira pamwe isiri yekuboycota tinobvuma zviri kuitwa nevamwe. Isusu hatisi kuzvikwanisa, asi ngatitiita muka mangwana tasangana sema-opposition toti alright, boycott iri kuitwa neava havasi kuboycota, ko chimwe chatingaita pamwe chete ndechiputi chema-electoral reform kuti akawanda. Chekutanga, for example, takachonotaura namai Makarao nyaya yekubatsira vanhu vanonzi hatigoni kuvhota. Ndiyo system ishandiswa nezano kwese kwese, asi ukanotarisa muelectoral act iripo izvezvizvi yakagadzirwa paine LDC government inotaurwa naJonathan Mweru, aiwa act iyi takaita pese, pakanyatsonyorwa zvakanaka kuti munhu anenge ati handikwanisi kuvhota anokwanisa kubatsirwa. Hapatauri kuti anenge achipira mareasons api ekuti handikwanisi kuvhota. Nauko kuZimbabwe uko kwakabatsirwa vanhu kuvhota, vanhu vaisvika 2000 vaiti hatigoni kunyora. Munhu acho anenge asingagoni kunyora pakuvhota, asi pane panosainwa anenge agona kusaina, asi kuvhota uko. Saka tinenge tisapota zveshuwa kuti that should change. Tingangosiyana pakuti tingazviona here nekuti pamwe neboycott. So we suppose zvebiometric process yekuti kuti handigoni kunyora pakusachaiti unenge wakudoshandisa kana finga yako zvaitwa kuNigeria, that we support. Takaona zvimwe zvakawanda apart from zvekuti hatigoni kunyora. Takaona nyaya yekuti vanhu vanenge vachiuya kunovhota vanouya vari muzvikwata nezvikwata zvinenge zvisina kutaurwa hazvo, hamusi kuzviona, asi vanoziva chakataurwa zvikwata. Sabhuku pamberi vanhu vake about 70-80 mashure umwe vachingodaro. Saka vanenge vachinyeperwa kunzi tinenge tichizoona nokupinda kwamuri kuita and system iri kuita. Saka tinofunga kuti pachaitwa mareform tirambidze kuti ana madzichi atomboenda kunovhota nevanhu, ivo vatovhotera kune dzimwe nzvimbo, and then toita make sure that hapana vanhu vanouya vari kugusi zvatiri kuona izvozvi. Saka zvakawanda zvatakadzidza zviri kutaridza kuti kubiridzirwa kuriko, inongosiyana chete kuti how best can we put preparation form.
Can I come in that?
Yeah, before you come in, Makumalo, let's hear. There is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Joshua Mhambi. I think our producer is saying we lost him. Mr. Mhambi, are you there? No, I think we've lost him. So, Makumalo, go ahead.
Yes, I hear Dr. Madhuku loud and clear. These are the same problems that we've been talking about ever since 1999. Okay? And that is why when the GNU came, the global political agreement came, it was another mooted idea to try and level the playing field. And unfortunately, what was requested by the global political agreement was never implemented in letter and spirit. It was a bit better compared to what is happening. And so why then go there when you know that we did speak about this thing of chiefs leading their own people, you'll be sitting in a sofa and they're all passing to go and vote. Teachers are told they're not educated, they can't vote, they are voted for. We have spoken about these things. My only problem with Zimbabweans is that we have such brilliant blueprints on the problems affecting this country. The only challenge that we are facing as Zimbabweans is the implementation matrix. And the other issue that we have to introspect is that we have to know that there is only one Zimbabwe. We have one common enemy, that is ZANU-PF, which is violating our rights, left, right, and center. Where are we differing? We have one common goal. Let's meet on this common goal and deal with ZANU-PF once and for all, than to keep on reinventing the wheel with these brilliant blueprints that we write out as Zimbabwe. our worst enemy is ourselves. Because we have forgotten, we have been looking at this monster for 35 years that is called Robert Gabriel Mugabe and his atrocities. We are now mirroring the same atrocity this man is trying to push down our throats. We are let's come together and correct this.
1 second, Mr. Mafume. Let's get Mr. Mhambi. I think he's there on the line. Mr. Mhambi, are you there on the line?
Hello.
Can you hear us, Mr. Mhambi?
Clearly, I do.
Yeah, okay. Tell us, is your party participating in these by-elections? If not, can we have a justification?
No, we are not participating. And it seems people have been repeating all the reasons that we are not participating for. But one dimension that one wants to bring in is that it doesn't matter how many ZANU-PF MPs you are going to have in that parliament or senate. The greatest challenge is stabilizing the economy as it is now. We are in a mess. The greatest challenge is to take care of all citizens and create a better life for them. ZANU-PF, as we speak, has no capacity of turning around the economy. You just need to read the economic reports that have been presented in the past month or so, which indicate the situation in which we are. Now, when it comes to electoral laws, we clearly were in protest when we participated in 2013. There were outstanding issues as far as aligning the new constitution to the new acts that were required to operationalize what was supposed to occur during elections. Besides talking about rigging, you have a lot of things that need to be put in place before you can talk about a free and fair election. So participating at the moment is basically endorsing a fait accompli that ZANU-PF is presenting to the public. So we don't want to be part of a process that continues or perpetuates the suffering of Zimbabweans. So for that reason, we are keeping ourselves out of the current elections or by-elections until we have meaningful electoral reforms.
Thank you, Mr. Mhambi. And of course, Mr. Mhambi is the spokesperson for the MTC formation led by Professor Holshman Ncube.
The way forward. Let's start with Professor Maduku. Apart from boycotting, what should be done?
Well, I think the way forward is we want to coordinate with other political parties and push for electoral reform. No way forward. By-election, accident, we are lucky to have them if they provide a political agenda. But is it possible there will be no by-elections? Kana aitwa pamwe hakuna vanhu vanofa kana hakuna vanhu kudzingana kubuda muparliament paite maby-election. So handifungi kuti whether kuparticipate kana kusaparticipate muby-election ingaita program because haisiyo election iri kuuya pamberi painenge yacho. Saka chiri key way forward ndeyekuti maopposition ese ngatibatanei tokangana zvokuti boycott or non-boycott. So since tiri kuwirirana toda electoral reform, let's ignore the participation and non-participation and just focus on what is it that we have to do to get electoral reform. I-campaign, ma-meeting, zvaizotibatsira kuti pamwe vakatanga kare vatori muparliament vese vongobuda havo voti no zvakaona kuti election ya2013 yakabiridzirwa. We don't want to remain there. Kwakuita disturb vobuda muparliament vese tofanana tichikampena zvingamika make sense.
Honorable Kumalo?
Yes, I think what we need in Zimbabwe is to fix every stakeholder in Zimbabwe. We need a convergence where we all meet and unpack this and produce a way forward. Because, and our first point of call is electoral reforms. The voters' role of Zimbabwe is decayed. That must be done away with and fresh processes start. If that fails, every Zimbabwe has got a birth certificate. Besides those that were taken by the Kukrawundi who are being denied identity. Why don't we go to the issue of the birth certificate of the IDs and birth certificates as means of the voter seat?
Honorable Kumalo.
But what is critical is convergence.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kumalo. Unfortunately, time is not our best ally. And we want to thank our guests this evening, Honorable Tabitha Kumalo, MDCT, Mr. Joshua Mugambi, MDC formation led by Professor Wosman Ngube, and NCA President, Professor Lovemore Maduku, and also MDC Renewal Team spokesperson, Mr. Jacob Mafume. Of course, we also want to thank our listeners, our callers, and of course our crew behind the scenes, our producers and engineers. Signing off, this is yours truly, Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube saying good night, Baba.